what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning to Twisted Youngins, the most unorthodox show on the globe. We hope you all are having a wonderful day today. And
Absolutely.
Thank you all for joining us.
No doubt. No doubt.
For sure. And I am one of your hosts, Myra B. King.
And it's your boy Mojo in the building. We have a special guest with us today, Mr. One Thou Wow in the building. Mud Flood on the check. What's up with it, sir?
What's up? How you doing? Yeah, man. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Absolutely.
All right. So let everybody know where you're from and who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm from England, a place called Nottingham. And they call me One Thou Wow. You know, it's a bit like when people say I keep it 100. I keep it One Thou Wow. You know, some people know me as Mr. Mudflood. And basically, I just talk about alternative history, or should I say the true version of history. And I'd like to deliver that to the people. That's what I do.
So what got you all interested in alternative history? Like, how did you start digging down that hole?
Well, I actually kind of stumbled on it by accident because, like most people, we're taught history in school. We're taught a certain way of living. And, you know, you don't think nobody's lying to you. You don't think they would have a reason to lie to you. But I remember years ago, probably about 7-8 years ago, I always studied Black history. So I had the aspect of Black history and Black culture. You know what I'm saying? Like what Black people was doing, you know, before so-called slavery. But a worldwide mainstream history, I got into that when I was looking up on something about giant trees and, you know, how trees would be absolutely giant if they was never chopped down. I started looking into that, and then I stumbled across an old map. And on this old map, it had where Russia is, it had Tartaria written in big writing. And I was like, Tartaria? Like, what do you mean? And I studied like quite a few old maps, and then from there, one thing led to another, and I just found out so many different things that has just been took out of history, but it's clearly there right in front of us.
Yeah.
And you said, what did the map say on it? You said,
yeah, the map said Tartaria.
Tartarian. What is that?
So basically, that was a civilization that, you know, span across all over the world, from Russia to Americas, India, and it was the civilization that was basically running the world before the civilization that's running the world now. And you can see it on all old maps from as late as the 1800s, you know, and it just got wiped off the map. Next minute they come out with a new map, it's not there.
And what kind of people were they?
Well, there was a mixed cultured people, you know. Sometimes the mainstream likes to say there was, you know, red-haired and there was tall and white, but it was a one world government. So it was black, it was white, it was Asians, Chinese, rumors of even giants being involved in that civilization. So
and you said it was a one world government?
Yeah, like a one world living in unity. So there wasn't no, you know, oh, this person don't know that person. So when they used to teach, like, you know, Black people and white people, they never knew each other and they stumbled across each other. That was a lie. So this is in the time of when, you know, the Black Moors, they was operating, you know, they was working pretty much alongside with the Tartarians.
Now you said the Moors were working alongside of them?
So, well, yeah, the Black Moors, they was established at this point. You know what I'm saying? They was already doing their thing. So yeah, it's almost like you can't have Tartaria without the Black Moors. You know, and a lot of people don't realize that at this moment. They just understand Tartaria to be a one world government, and I don't think they can picture in their mind what the people would have looked like. So,
I mean, it sounds something like America, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. So, like, obviously, a lot of people, especially Black people, are unaware that Black people are the indigenous of America. I'm saying they lived there. They built up all those buildings that they see there, you know, all the cities that are in there, Chicago, Seattle, you know what I mean, New York. But yeah, that all comes from this the government, the Tartarian Empire, which was from Europe to America. So they was basically all over the world.
Because they said it was actually now that you're saying that, they said it was a Black guy, and it's a statue of him in the park, a Black guy who discovered Chicago.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, he discovered Chicago. He's a black guy, and I'm about to give you his name now because as you said that, it just made me think about. He was
John Baptist.
Jean Baptist Point du Sable. Say he was from Haiti. Now Haiti. Okay, so he's from present day Haiti, and yeah, he's a black guy, and he discovered Chicago, and it's a statue of him there. So I don't know, and then
There's
just
several schools named after him too, up there in Chicago. Like I'm pretty sure there's a high school in the elementary named after.
What year was that?
the year.
Discovered it.
Okay, so let's go. Let's see.
1909.
Let's see. Probably before that. What year was?
I mean,
This?
what you're talking about though, it sounds like I said, the reason why I said it sounds like America, because obviously, even back in biblical terms, we're talking about Babylon.
I think 1780.
Oh,
Okay.
I think, yeah. What year was Chicago?
Well,
it was founded in 1833, but
to my knowledge,
he arrived in 17. Yeah, he arrived in the late 17, but I guess, but I guess it was formally founded, and they have it on here. If you just do the quick search, they have it here. 1833.
But I mean, like I said, absolutely. Even then, what we're talking about, like I said, with modern day Babylon and everything like that, that's what we're moving to right now. We're moving towards a one world order, a one world government. I was just watching a video with I believe it's Prince Charles or whatever. He was talking about how they need to have a proper military strength, and we need to have a proper one world order and an economic system and everything like that, so that this specific person will have access to everything at their fingertips. And this also specific person will have access to trillions. And I'm like, well, who is he talking about?
Yeah. Sounds like some Antichrist business going on right there. But,
yeah.
That's what I sound like. But the idea of this new world government isn't new. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to say. This has already been happening.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, that black guy who founded Chicago, what I understood is that it's been going back well longer than that. You know what I'm saying? But they've played around with the dates. Yeah. The timeline that we're trying to match up with dates and times, it's hard to do that because, the time and the calendar that we're following now isn't accurate. So a lot of the time when we look back, or we look back in biblical times and we try and find out who made which city out when, they've changed a lot of the names to make us confused. But, we're still on the road to the truth.
Do you read the Bible?
I've read the Bible quite a few times. Yeah.
Okay, have you? Times. Okay, so, do you believe in God? You believe in Jesus?
I don't believe in Jesus as the Lord and Savior, the white Jesus type of thing.
Well, no. We're not talking about the Jesus that the world portrays to. We're actually talking about the Jesus in the Bible that's described in the Bible.
The true Jesus.
Okay, yeah. I believe there was a man. That was going around and he was healing people. I believe there was a man called Jesus. Because
the Jesus that they portrayed us, the white Jesus, that's not even a visual of Jesus. That I believe that is Alexander the Pope Great's son Caesar, who had a relationship with Leonardo, and Leonardo painted that picture of Caesar. Of his lover. What I mean? Of his lover, and that's who the person is. That's not even Jesus at all. Caesar, Jesus. Yeah. Jesus came from the tribe of Judah, right?
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah. So
because you're in your discovery and what you've been doing, what's the most mind-boggling thing that you've discovered thus far that you just can't wrap your head around? Because I got one for you, and I'm lost on it.
Well. Okay.
Oh, go on. What was you gonna say?
No, we can't, because I didn't want to get off the subject of the mud floods, because that was interesting about the mud floods. Yeah. But go ahead. You can.
What's the most mind-boggling? I think all of it mixed together. I think just the way, I think the way power has been took away from obviously black people. That's always mind-boggling, because I would think, but how? You know what I mean? You think, how? We was running things. You know what I'm saying? How did we lose it? And then I look into that and I'm like, okay, we got ahead of ourselves, and fought amongst each other. But I think the biggest part is just the whole reset of civilizations, the whole wipeout of people's whole civilization, and then the way they just took over the buildings. So a lot of these buildings, that's why they call it Freemasons, because they're not the real stonemasons that built these buildings. They inherited these buildings, and that's where they get the name Freemasonry from. And that just shocked me to see that all these big structures weren't built by who they said they was built by.
Yeah, I mean, even back to the whole pyramid situation, and everyone just says, oh, well, the Egyptians built the pyramid and science can't figure out how it's been done and all of this. I believe if you dig deep enough, like you said, digging into science and everything like that. Well, if you dig deep enough into history, you'll find out how they built the pyramids, because it's as simple as going to the book of Enoch. It's simple. They got information. It's the Egyptians lived like they lived because they had a type of they had something that no one else had. Why do you think the hieroglyphs of them being giants and everything? You think it was a game? No, they were really giants. They were really giants. They really had magic. Like me and Myra talk about it all the time. I tell people one of the craziest things, and one of the things that drew me to the Bible was when I read, and I believe it was in the book of Exodus, when Noah went. I'm sorry, no, not Noah, but I'm sorry. But when Moses went and he told the Pharaoh, hey, let my people go, and I got a series of things I'm gonna do. He pulled out that stick and threw it on the ground. That stick became,
snake.
Yeah. And what did the Pharaoh do?
Yeah,
what did the Egyptian do? He went and got his people, and they threw a stick on the ground, and it became a snake. And I'm sitting here, and that's what threw me back. And I sat back and I said, well, wait a minute. His stick was blessed by the Creator. Who blessed his stick? Or where did they get that information from to have that type of have that type of power?
Yeah.
So, when you say, how did they build the pyramids? Look at what they were doing. Look at what they were dealing with. Look at the hieroglyphs.
Yeah, because it also mentions in the Bible along the story that he's talking about how they were into like witchcraft and drinking blood and with beast, and also like Ashtoreth, which is over here, the Statue of Liberty, she's in the Bible, that's the goddess of the moon, you know what I mean? Nimrod and Horus, like all that stuff is biblical. And I got to thinking to myself, well, wait a second. All these statues and all that we see around the world, all this Masonic stuff, all this worship is literally in the Bible. And this is what God was trying to keep everybody away from, because he knew what was coming. And that's what pulled me closer and closer to her, because I'm like, wait a second, we are living in that world now. Yeah. That is, we're living in the world now. Every building you see, statues you see, symbols you see, that's television, exactly television. It's all biblical. Really, it is. That's the history book. That is a history book. If you put Google up like what those names mean in the Bible, or what's some of those landmarks, you'll be surprised. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just a book of just stories. You know what I mean? A lot of people, like to think it's just story, but no, that's actually it's history. It gives you a rundown on things. And but getting back to like the book of Enoch with the fallen angels. Yeah, they were teaching, coming here on earth, teaching the people about astrology, about the stars, about the moon, how to wear makeup,
that's where the Egyptians got it from.
Jewelry and all. They were teaching them magic. Like they taught them all sorts of information.
Yeah.
They gave them, like you said, astrology. They gave them science and technology. That was the big sin in the book of Enoch. When the angels tell, they're telling Enoch, before Enoch, Ethiopia, they're telling Enoch, hey, well, the next time you see the Creator, tell him, don't punish us. We'll change. And he's like, no, it's already written. And the reason why he can't forgive you for what you have done, or not call back this, punishment, is for the simple fact you gave man his creation.
Have you saw the movie the Eternals?
No, I haven't seen it yet. You
gotta watch that.
That's what they were teaching the people. It's like they were doing a reenactment of the fallen angels. The Eternals are teaching the people how to make instruments, all type of information. But that's a whole nother one. And
what you were talking about earlier about how the transfer of power went from, a lot of black people having it to, switching over. Well, when Rome came to Egypt, they learned a lot. It ain't like they came to eat. As we say it all the time. Oh, well, black people did this first and black people did this first. Yeah, we had a lot of the knowledge first and we had a lot of the technology, a lot of the resources and everything like that. We taught these people how to do the things that we were doing. They learned it, took it, and ran with it.
Yeah, I know.
Started doing something with it that we never thought about
and ran us out of there.
Yeah, we've been driving our car down. Yeah, we've been driving our car down the street.
Ran us out of there
60 miles an hour because that's what the speed limit is. Yeah, we see the speed limit 60 miles an hour. Rome come over and other people come in.
So what do you make of it?
They start doing 100 on the highway.
So what do you make of it?
What make of what? Sorry,
just like history and pulling everything in. You say like
so. I do a lot of videos about, who really built these buildings and how was they really built. Like, I know the answer to it. Sometimes I'm trying to get people's minds to think for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I do videos about, have we done all of this before? How many times have we been reset? How many times we've been in advance, got to a certain level and it mashed up? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what humans do. They keep trying to get better and better and they're learning this thing and playing around with vibrations and sounds and frequency and magic. And they end up blowing themselves up. You know what I mean? They end up going too far with it, forgetting about God, trying to be God's himself. And it's something that I can see happening right now with the whole metaverse and the whole virtual reality and the whole everything that they're doing now. None of these men are preaching God. None of these men are talking about repent or no savior. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to save themselves from who knows what. You know what I'm saying? But really and truly, history is doomed to repeat itself again and again if man doesn't learn his ways and learn his lesson. That's how I feel about it.
So going back to this mud flood, because at first when I thought about it, I'm just like, oh, okay, it's a flood. Stuff got buried underneath, and that's what it is. But then as I got to thinking about it, I'm like, wait a second, what? We could literally be on top of cities now.
I mean, we definitely are. In America, we definitely are.
And not only that, but we could literally be over like a big body of water. Because if you think about it, if you dig deep enough, you can make a water well. You'll see water, spring up water. Yeah. Like, where is that water coming from? Yeah. And we're not even at the major surface of the earth, like the first surface. You know what I mean? So it has to be something. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. But where's all this water? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just took my mind. It just took my mind somewhere else when I started thinking about the mud flood. And then I got to thinking about, wait a second, people dig wells and water springs like in the earth. And that's not even, that's not even ground level. That's not ground level.
Yeah. The mud flood thing, that is one of the craziest things because it's so kind of hard to understand whilst easy to understand. Because as much as you think, okay, there could have been a big flood, you know what I'm saying? After a big flood, there's going to be mud. Yeah. And you think, but it's not as simple as that because it's all around the world. And you think, well, was it Noah's flood? I'm like, I don't know, because Noah's flood was apparently ages ago. The flood I'm talking about with the mud flood is cities underneath. And a lot of people say, of course, we build on top of buildings, you build on top of cities. Do you know how hard it is to build on top of a city? Like, what are you saying? Like, yeah, that's what the mainstream people say. They say it's normal. You build on top of buildings. I've seen a picture where they're driving on top of the buildings. You know what I'm saying? Someone's excavated one ground level, so they've dug it up to make a car park. Yeah, and on the side, people are driving, and you can see houses underneath. You think, so how high in the sky are we? Do you know what I mean? How high are we? And they say, yeah, underground basement, six floors down. That's normal. It's not normal, And especially if you go by the mainstream narrative, they say they had primitive tools, hammer, chisel. So you're telling me someone dig 12 feet down in the ground and then started building? Do you know how difficult that would be with the resources? So what we understood is that these buildings wasn't built that way. They was built normal on a flat surface. But over time, whether it was a man-made event, whether it was the pole shift, whether someone had sound weapon frequencies that could liquefy your ground, there was definitely a mud flood. Because people say it's basements, It's not a basement. It's not an apartment. It's not a cellar. It's been converted. But that wasn't the original reason. Nobody in the whole world digs a hole and then starts building from the ground. It's too hard. You know?
I see what you're saying. You're normally building on a surface level. No one goes underneath, when they're starting to dig a house and say, hey, I'm going to start 20 feet underground building this house on up. No, you just find land and you put the cement down and you start building whatever you're going to build there. You don't start digging a foundation underneath. I see what you're saying now.
And a lot of the time, you'll see the windows buried halfway, or the original front door is actually down underneath. If they dig down, you get to see the original front doors. It's crazy. Absolutely
there's a place out in there's a state out here called Illinois. There's a place where someone just put a house on I think it was on Zillow or something like that. It's an underground house. And when you go to the house, you go to the yard, it's literally nothing, flat surface. But you see the chimney poking up.
Yeah.
And the house is under the ground.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that's a great idea. All you got to do is build a house on top of that, and we're talking about something now. And what you're talking about is absolutely true. And like I said, the history of America, they built on top of cities for eons, decades. They have a place out in everyone likes to go to Atlanta, Georgia. Over here in America, everybody likes to go to Atlanta. Well, Atlanta, Georgia, actually, there's a place out there called Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is supposed to be a haunted lake. Well, they don't tell you why it's haunted. It's haunted because that lake was foundationally built on top of a city. And that city was a city of slaves. And they wanted to erase that city in order to not have to pay those families for the, obviously the trials and tribulations and everything like that. So they just erased the whole entire city, got rid of everyone that lived there. He just erased the bloodlines, right?
Yeah.
That's just one of many. People like to go to New York City. There's a lot of places. Central Park was built on top of a city, another black city. There's several black cities in America. And the reason why I'm saying black cities, because majority of them are black, but they have built on several other cities as well. That's the type of thing that
they say some of these beaches over here in America were once absolutely cities that some of these beaches over here in America were once cities, but now they've been turned to beaches now. You know what I mean? So
and
that's
you have
weird
the
to
whole lost city of that.
Oh, you want to say something?
Situation and whatnot.
I was about to say, and they usually always do this to hide something. So don't let them fool you with the whole, we just wanted a pond and we wanted a seaside. They're doing it to hide something. You know what I'm saying? And that is the main reason. A lot of people say it's a natural thing. It's not natural to flood a man's city.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Flood a man's town with the houses still intact. That's not normal, bruv. So the whole mud flood thing, it comes into that. And it also shows that people have been doing them type of methods for years. So the same as what happened with Lake Lanier, something like that has happened many times over. Because again, you're just not going to build on top of a building. Yeah, no one does that.
Absolutely.
So why don't you think they speak on the orphan train as much? Because you speak on the orphan train, and I've heard about that a while ago. I've heard about that a while ago, but I don't hear too many people speaking about it. But I do recall looking at, when you look at old documentaries, I do hear people say at times, I came over here as an orphan at this point. You know what I mean? Like I've heard like a lot of people that came over here, famous people from like a long time ago, maybe like the 1900s. They'll say, "Oh, I came over here to America, but I was an orphan. I came over here on a boat or something like that." Yeah. And when I saw you do that video, and I'm like, it could be something to that, and still be something to that to this day. You know what I mean?
Right now, the border's wide open.
For anyone that's listening to this podcast and anyone that wants to know more, look at the 1800s, just the whole 1800s, because this is when we believe they started repopulating the cities again. We believe this is when the last reset, last mud flood, last worldwide disaster happened. Because in those years, that's when all the craziness happens. 1800s up into the 1900s to get it right. So the orphan trains, that was something that was going on all around the world. Like there was something like, I think, 50 million children a year or something ridiculous like this. And you think, where are they getting all the children from? Where are they getting all the children from? And this is when we realized how they were able to do a reset. If you kill off all the elders and all the teachers and anyone that knows about the old world and you leave the children left, you can teach them anything. And this is the society we're living in now. Everybody seems to have forgot about the Mudfords because everyone that was involved was dead. And the children was then shipped to different countries, different cities to repopulate it, given different roles. And you just have to Google it. Just look up the orphan trains and you think, so where are the kids coming from? Where are the parents? Where are all these parents? And there's no answer to say, yeah, orphan train. And about, I think something like, I can't remember how much it was, like 20,000 different mental homes was opened up in the 1800s. So anyone that did know anything, that wanted to speak about anything, was dashed in a mental home, you know? And this is the way they was able to reset everything, repopulate the cities, dig it out. Like you'll see the most amount of buildings in the 1800s, say 850, this was founded. And they use the word founded, yeah? They put on a building, we founded. It basically means you found it, bruv, you know, or we found it dead. We founded it in 1850, and it's always going to be 1816, 1815. Just look at the years. And you're like, you built this in 1815.
Oh,
like,
it's clicking.
Even
That's
with
that was the start.
1833.
Yes, that was the start of the reset.
Thank you. Yep, it's clicking.
That was the start of the reset. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because it's very seldom you'll see a building, founded in 1600, founded in 15. It always starts at a certain period. And why is that?
Yeah, that's the reset period.
At 1800 is when the orphans start coming over.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, a lot of people with money in the world, they came from different countries.
Yeah. Like, how can you move from, some of them moved from Ireland, yeah, in the 1800s to America, and they're a millionaire. Like, and they've got their own permit to build houses. So apparently, you think, who's this guy? It's like, yep, there's one guy, he built that mansion. Thinking, who is this guy in the 1800s? Do you know what I mean? And you look at pictures from the 1800s, and there's nobody there. Like, so many pictures from the 1800s, the streets are bare. And people say, yeah, that's because people are moving and it's flash photography. No, because we can show you other pictures where there's people there. So the 1800s are like the most spookiest, dodgiest times, and it exposes everything. It really does. The resets, the mud flood, the whole orphans. Go on.
No, that's crazy because it just started clicking as we were going into it. And you're right. So that would be the start of the reset, the 1800s. Yeah. And that would explain why they wanted to blow down, get rid of the fairs, the world fairs. Yeah. Why they wouldn't keep it up.
Yeah. Yes. So all the world fairs happened again in the 1800s, and these what we're saying, these buildings were already there from the reset. And the reason why they had to knock them down is because it would give it all away. Any building that was too good and too glorious that would give away that they never built them, they'd have to knock it down. So they have these big world fairs, everybody would ship in from all over the world, millions would come for 6 months and then knock it down. Do you know what I'm saying? And then even down to name brands, Weetabix, Kellogg's, all 1800s, it will say established in 1800s, Kellogg's. Like, what? Say what? Everybody in the 1800s got their proportion. Everyone was distributed their land, distributed their name brand, and you just look it up. It will say 1853 or 1821. You're like, everybody did everything in the 1800s. You're like, yep. And then
wouldn't even have to pay their families.
Say that again.
Wouldn't even have to pay their families. Yeah, it's like you're getting rid of generation. Yeah. It's like you're getting rid of like a whole. Yeah, you're doing a reset, but it's also like you're getting rid of like a generation.
Yeah.
Like generations, right?
You're wiping out the bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Grandma gone, granddad gone, mommy, daddy gone.
And they probably owned it. Yeah. I'm sure they owned it. You know what I mean? But
yeah, definitely. And then the 1900s come, then you get the World War I, World War II. No one really knows what was going on. A lot of bombings, a lot of buildings got bombed. Next minute, everybody's happy. 1950s, 1960. I'm saying, like, and then the whole past 100 so years was just a madness, like absolute madness. Like them, trust me, if you research how many events, so-called, took place in the 1800s, you'd be like, that was a mad 100 years. From the Dark Ages to this, electricity, everything was created in these years. Nah.
Electrical cars.
Yeah.
Like everything was here. Like they knew everything was here already, but they got rid of it. But I'm sure it had to be still, as far as inventions, these patents, I'm pretty sure they have patents that go beyond the 1800s, right? Because that's just what they used to.
They just basically, it was already here. All of these technologies, all of this stuff, they've already been here. They've done the reset, and then they pretend to keep coming out with new inventions. Like, oh, we just figured out electricity. But no, you had that before the reset. I saw a documentary the other day about the rainforest, tropical rainforest in Brazil with tram lines in like 1800s in the tropical.
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible? And you see the tram lines and you see the tram in the 1800s, and then they knock it down. Keep knocking it down. Train stations, knock it down. So it fits in with the timeline. So you think, no, there's no way the tropical rainforest could have a tram line because it's tropical. Before it was tropical, somebody was living there with electricity.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It makes sense though, but like I said, if you dig deep enough in history, you'll find the truth. You know, the Big Bang Theory, everything, and all of that. Like you said, even with technology and what we're talking about now, it was all predated.
Yeah.
The point is that, like you said, it's repeating itself, but they're doing the same thing. Now, to repeat yourself is one thing, but like the definition of insanity goes, to repeat the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Now that's crazy. Yeah. And that's pretty much what history of man has been doing. Now, history itself can move on, but like you said, man and the things that we tend to be into and the things we tend to do makes us repeat the same thing over and over. It doesn't matter what time it's in. And there's a reason for that. Because like you said, the inventions are coming out. They've already been, discovered. We're building things. And after we build things, we blow it up, destroy it, then recreate it and come back out like, hey, here's this new product. And then you have someone older in your family, when you were a kid and, you go and show your grandparents or something like, hey, look at this and look at that. And they're like, oh, we had that back in the day. Yeah, but it wasn't like this. You're trying to explain to them it wasn't like this, but little do you know, it probably was better than that. It might have been just like that because that's how it is. We were running. I was growing up running around talking about, oh, look at my Game Boy, not knowing that they had handheld games back in the day. Yeah, that's just what it is. History repeating itself. The point is that these inventions that we're talking about, and all the way down to the patents that you're talking about, someone has this information. Now, again, I told you, I go back to the book back in the Bible. That information was distributed by demonic figures to a specific people. That specific people happen to distribute that information to more people. Now, the people who got a hold of it the third time was the last time anyone has ever saw this information. No one's seen it since. And I can assure you it's not gone because you can see the same things being implemented in today's day and age. Speaking on the Great Reset, that's what I'm starting to think now that we've just had this conversation, because I really didn't know too much about what y'all were talking about. That's why I was sitting over there quiet, absorbing this information, because based off what y'all just mentioned, I'm starting to think that's what the ushering in of the new old world, the one world order. And the digital dollar is. The digital dollar is the Great Reset. Right now in America, I keep telling people we're not going to head toward, we're headed towards a depression, recession. No, we're not headed towards a depression or recession. We're headed towards a reset. People can't afford to eat. People can't afford to go to school. People can't afford to go to work. People can't afford to do simple things. Once people can't afford to live, now you've got a mass situation.
But it's not. But the crazy thing is, it's not just America. That's
no. I know it's going around. So everywhere it's going to be world.
Like global, like one global government.
Absolutely. Like I know over there where you guys are going through inflation and everything too, because like your guys, like everything is up, like your pound and everything is up, right?
Yeah, it's all crazy right now. Well, we know they're doing it on purpose. we know that the food's still there. Gas, everything's still there. They're just making it not be on the market to make people feel like the whole war's mashing up, it's overpopulated. They keep talking about, they need to lower the amount of people in the world. We need to get rid of them. I think, well, how are you going to do that, mister? You know what I mean? And they keep coming out with this new jab and this new pandemic and this new problem. And they're going down a certain direction. Yeah, they're going down a certain direction. And I believe it is to try and start a reset. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think.
No, that's it's weird. You know, like we definitely think we're in a reset.
Which we just talking about with everyone that owns everything. Fact checkers. Who owns the fact checks?
Yeah.
Fact checkers are owned by the people that you're fact checking.
Yeah, I love that. You know how many times they've like fact checked me? I've come out with something, and the next week they come out with a fact check. Like, no, it's not that. I'm like, wait a minute. How can you fact check me when I'm fact checking you? You know what I mean?
Like they put the little link at the bottom, like, oh, we can't confirm or deny if this information is true. Here's a link to the actual thing.
Yeah.
Like, no, what I said is true. Don't worry about it. But you know.
Yeah, and then they have these holograms now. I'm starting to see I'm starting to see more and more of these holographic images that they're starting to put out more for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm just starting to see them more. I don't know if it has something to do with Project Bluebeam. Have you ever looked into that?
Well, I didn't actually look into Project Bluebeam. I kind of already understood from like the Bible that they was going to come back with the whole Antichrist thing, and they're going to make people believe in something that isn't real. So then as I got older and I realized what technology was, I started to understand about holograms. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that with holograms, they can make people believe anything. You know what I mean? So people started talking about aliens coming back and all type of things. There's going to be a person that's like Jesus who does all these, miracles and stuff. But I thought that was going to be a hologram. And then somebody mentioned to me, Project Bluebeam. You know what I'm saying? So I did look into Project Bluebeam. And it was just basically what I believed anyway. So I'm saying that basically they're going to be using these holograms to fool people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, like I said to myself and I thought like, maybe a lot of people like over thinking it. Cause I'm thinking to myself, like, I thought to myself, like, man, what if my family and I was in control of a whole world, right? What would I do? Yes, if I don't want a lot of people to start getting money, I'll place regulations and rules that you have to go to a lot of hurdles in order to make money. If you want to own your own land, you technically I'll make you think you own it, but you still got to pay me to be on that land. You still got to pay me for all the resources that's already here. And yeah, I will cut off a section of the world used for our technology. So that people won't be able to go explore there. And if you see stuff floating around in the air, it's probably our technology, but we'll act like, we don't know what, it's a UFO. We don't know we don't know what this is. Yeah. And even with the reset, yeah, I would, make something happen and to where we can keep it rolling. We can continue to keep this money coming in. We can continue to keep, if the population is coming down, open the borders up and let's keep letting everybody in, but let's make it seem like we actually don't want the people to come in. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know. It's just, I guess if you think about it, is you can see why a lot of this stuff is done.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, as we can see it as well, a lot of people don't want to believe it. And even when you believe it, we don't really believe it because we're like, the government can't be doing this like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to live my life. You know what I mean? I got kids and stuff. I got a life to live. I don't want no goddamn drama. You know
Yeah.
So, it's crazy.
We do think like that, absolutely. And I mean, a lot of people don't believe, or like you said, don't want to believe that it's true or what's happening or what's going on right now. A lot of the stuff that they're doing, they've already done it before. They've already tested it out. I tell Myra and them all the time, we're test subjects. We as people in this world are test subjects to the holy power, not holy, but to the powers that be above that are obviously watching over everything and dictating what's going on. I tell people all the time, the Truman Show is something that everyone should watch. And have you ever seen it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's something I believe that's everyone. Oh, it's the Matrix. It's the Matrix. No, it's more like the Truman Show, really. Yeah, we're a bunch of people. We're a bunch of testers. We're a bunch of people walking around. They're doing things, testing the environment. Let's inflate this. Let's raise prices on this. Let's say there's a shortage on this. Like at one point in time, I remember over here in America, they said we were having a tomato shortage last year. I said, how on God's green earth do we have a tomato shortage? And I see people growing tomatoes everywhere in their yard. Every house on the block, every other house, they're probably growing tomatoes out here. Yet they're talking about there's a tomato shortage. Stop it.
But without inflation, they wouldn't make as much money because you got families worth like $500 billion. How in the world are families worth that much money? For example, like I remember when my great grandfather and my grandfather used to say, "Hey, I remember we were younger, soda was like 20 cents." You know what I mean? But now, if you look at the price of soda or even gas, for example, I remember, when our grandparents were younger, gas was probably 50 cents. Now, look at how much money they were making that when gas was 50 cents. Have gas ever dropped back down to a 50-cent price? No, gas is still at the place where they drilled it from. Nothing's changed where they got the oil from or wherever it's from. They've always wanted to charge more for it. They say, okay, more population coming in, more people coming in. Okay, cool. Let's raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. Do you think gas is ever going to go back down? But gas in some places is almost $10 now. Do you think it's going to go back down to $5 after this is over? No. It's just an excuse. They use stuff that happened in the world as an excuse to raise prices on everything so they can get more money. The only companies that profit during this pandemic and this whole inflation is a certain amount of families, certain amount of companies.
The people that created the problem and the people that are profiting.
That's it. And they're loving it. They're loving it.
I mean, the time the problem is just to confuse us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really about money. It's about your spiritual. Do you know what I'm saying? And as long as they can keep people busy, running around, trying to make money, they're forgetting about God.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right. That's true.
We're coming to a point now where people can't stay busy anymore. They're going to stay at home now.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, if they really wanted to do a population sweep real quick without all the viruses and everything like that, if they really wanted to sweep the population real fast, as they've tested this theory out already a few times with them saying over here in America, oh, the Russians hacked the internet, stuff like that. Yeah. If they shut down the internet or just shut down the power grid, just shut down all the power in the world, for 6 months, just 6 months, how many people do you think would be alive? We're in June right now, right?
Well, they've already been teasing summer blackouts.
I know. I'm just saying we're in June right now. Okay, so if they shut down all the power from June, from the end of this week till December, how many people do you think will be alive by the winter?
Yeah, people gone mad.
Killed themselves, starved themselves. And I do mean that, starved themselves, because you can live off of a few things. People think they need a lot. You can live off a few things. You might not be what you want, but I asked, did you live today? Stuff like that. Not many people would survive at the end of the year. So you have to think about stuff like that. When they shut down Facebook and, the Instagram and all of that. And what if they even froze? Yeah, TikTok. What if they froze YouTube up for a day or something like that? People would lose it. People would lose. If you couldn't Google, people would flip out. Yeah. Like it would really start a riot out there. So, there's a lot of things going on.
Well, sure. We know it's late there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you giving us your time. Sure. Before we get out of here, have you ever heard of the CERN machine?
Who?
The CERN machine?
The CERN machine, no.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, brother, you need to look it up. You closer to it than I am. You need to look it up, okay? This is a machine that is dug deep down in the ground. It is very wide, and they are spinning protons and neutrons faster than the speed of light, and they're clashing them into each other to recreate the Big Bang Theory, and they're very close, brother, and they're opening portals down there and doing all kinds of things, my friend. It's in CERN, Switzerland. Look into that.
What's wrong with these mad people, bro?
Man. It's a lot going on, man. But we appreciate you giving us your time today, man. I appreciate the information that you bounced around out here and gave to the people, and hopefully they'll do some digging into it. Do you have anything coming up in the future that people can look forward to or your fans can dig into?
Well, you can follow me on my YouTube. That's at One Fire Wow, and you can follow me on my TikTok. That's One Fire Wow 2. I hope you guys can post a link for them for that or something.
Yeah,
and
Sure.
yeah, man, it's nice being on your show. Thank you very much.
No,
All right, thank you.
man.
You have a good one. We appreciate it.
Yeah, stay blessed out here, man. Enjoy your day, and we'll keep in touch, man. Take it easy.